Welcome back to my channel. Yes, we have the little creepy background again because the theme of this video is going to be the morbid obsession, the Victorian morbid obsession with death. So welcome. Trying something different. Um, so welcome. I have around me a bunch of morbid items that I want to show you guys. A lot of it is Victorian era inspired or from the actual Victorian era. So I do have a few antiques and things like that. So I'm going to show you guys. So welcome in. Got my little old fashioned candle holder and just to get the vibes going. Then I have this little modern fake candle, but this is what they would have been using back in the day. They did not have too much light. I mean, they did have electricity towards the end, but candles were main staple. Okay, so we'd have a lot of candles. So their obsession with death. Okay. Um, they obsessed over death, or they were very fascinated by death. They used a lot of mourning items to mourn their dead. And I think it's because um, I know that back in the old days, especially in the United States, that embalming did not come in until like Civil War days. So embalming was sort of a new thing, but before they would embalm the body, I think they would also have what they called a wake, where the families would sit all night with the body of the deceased to make sure that they were truly deceased and they did not wake up. So that would also be one of the things that families would do, is sit up all night and just watch to see if the body moved or if an eyelid twitched or something like that. So that's kind of morbid in itself. I've actually worked a funeral where the family asked to stay overnight in the funeral home chapel in order to stay with the body. So I had to spend the night in a funeral home. But, that's not a big deal because that's what I used to do. It doesn't matter. So I have this old box. I don't know how old this box is. It's a little dusty, but it is very old. And I do think it is from, I don't know. I do think it's super old. I'm not sure. There's something written on the bottom. It's like 1944. So that's not Victorian era, but this person could have been born during that era. So there is, I can't read it, but it says it could say Geneva or something with a J. I don't know. I can't read that writing. But I bought this antique, as you can see, and it has a mirror on the inside. It's like the old school mirror that's not super clear. It's like that mirror they used to make in the old days with the black behind it. And I'm not sure what kind of box this was, but here's the inside. Yeah, it's kind of old. And in it, I keep some of the actual things from the Victorian era that I do have. This, you've probably seen this in an older video if you've watched my channel for a long time. This is like a little pocket picture album that they used to put photos of the deceased in. And this one still has the manufacturer's ad or like label in there. It has like this velvet pillow tuft thingy on this side with like a burnout. Sorry, y'all. I don't want to drop it. It's like a tuft burnout emblem or something like that. I don't know what it means. But this is actually really old. So I got this at a store, an oddity store in Austin, Texas. And you can see the details on there. So people used to actually carry these around with them, with the pictures of someone who had recently died. A lot of widows would carry these around with their husband's or child's picture if they lost, their child or their husband, the widow or, the mourning mothers. So men would also carry these as well or they would use like different, they had square ones as well, but I could not find a square one. So I got the oval one. And you can see the intricate work and see how put together it is. These are little nails or screws, and it clasps together like with these metal parts. So it's an authentic mourning locket, pocket, picture frame. I don't know what to call it. They have a lot of mourning jewelry, and because widows would have to wear black for a whole year, or so they had a lot of things for their fashion. So I also picked up this. It's a pin for mourning, and a lot of this was made out of this. I forgot the name of this material is, but this is a Victorian era mourning pin too. You could wear this on your dress to fasten something together, but you can see how old it is. I don't know what that green stuff is. I guess that's what they used to glue it with back in the day. This is super old. It's kind of heavy too. It's like, I also got this from I got this from an antique store, actually in my hometown where I live now, and I could not pass it up. So I think I got it. Either that or the same place in Austin. I'm not sure, but I have gone to a lot of antique stores. Okay. The next thing I got was this is original lavender oil. I think I showed this recently. And it's still in the same original bottle. I don't know how old this is, but it looks like it's from back in the day. I don't even want to open it to smell it. But look, this looks like it was back from the Victorian era, or at least 40s or whatever. But this is old. Lavender oil, I didn't know what this color. So it's pretty old, you could tell. So I keep this. I don't open it. I thought it was pretty cool. I did get this at an antique store near where I live. Okay, so like that. I'm going to keep that upright because I don't want to spill. And another thing I got, I have a lot of makeup compacts, but they're not as old. But this one is probably the oldest one. I think this one is probably from the 20s. This may be a little bit older. This could be Victorian. I'm not sure. It didn't say, but this is the inside. This would be the mirror, and you would put your powder or blush or whatever in here, and use whatever. A lot of times they use their fingers back in those days, for the blush or like a little poof or whatever. But I don't see any engravings or anything on it at the bottom. But if you look really close, this is, sorry y'all, my nails are a mess. I've been doing a lot of crafting and drawing and just organizing and stuff. So I haven't done my nails, but this is the artwork. It looks hand painted. And it looks like it's on mother of pearl. So it looks really nice. It's in Paris. Cool. So I'm sure a lot of the objects that I have are were owned by someone who's probably now deceased. I also have this old perfume bottle with the atomizer. And I'm so sad because it broke. It had like a little stand. So now I just lay it down. This is pretty old too. I'm not sure how old this is, but this is what they kind of used back in the old days. They put on their perfume. So this is probably not from the Victorian era. Probably just something that was kind of replicated. Let me see. Oh, here's another thing that was probably replicated. And I got this, it's like, it has like this wooden top with a flower, and I just put some potpourri, like from dried flowers from my garden, and some that I had as potpourri. And it's in this like black metal thing. I thought it just looks Victorian to me, but you could probably put makeup in here or powder or something like that or whatever. But I keep these little dried flowers in mine because I haven't figured out what to do with it yet. Here's another thing. I know this is a replica because it looks too new, but these are like similar purses that they used to use back in the old days. I think this is a real, I don't know if that's a real stone. It looks like glass, a glass bead maybe. And it pops open like this. And these are the type of purses they would have back in the day. Ooh, what do I have in here? A candle. Who'da knew? And some earrings. I have a candle and some earrings. Interesting choice, right? Y'all know. Y'all can tell I don't use this purse, but it's, I think in the old days it would have been embroidered. This is more of like a computer cross stitch replica. But if you would find something like this from the old days that was hand embroidered, it'd probably be worth a lot of money. So this is just probably like a little cheap replica you could find. I don't know where I got this from. Probably got this thrifting. But just showing you the kind of stuff that they would have. Oh, I actually got this recently. It's like one of those old school wood burned music box that you crank up. And of course I got Beauty and the Beast because that's one of my faves. So, and the inside looks like this. These are the old school music boxes. Isn't that cute? They have ones with different songs. I got this on Amazon. So this is definitely a replica of the old school music boxes that people used to have or make back in the old days. So that one, it has a little artwork in it. A little artwork in it too. Right? Cute. Okay, so let's talk about their fascination with death. So I bought this at an oddity store in Houston. And y'all, this has a strange story. Well, my story. So I got this at a store in Houston. I did a haul probably last year or a year before last of this store. It's called The Wild Collection. And it's spelled like Oscar Wilde. With an E at the end. It's an oddity store in Houston. And they sell like weird stuff and just all kind of cool stuff like oddities. And I bought this. So it's just a box with a heart in it. And the heart, it looks like it's been stabbed. And I don't know what the story is behind this. I don't know if there's a real heart in here under some clay. I don't know. But I have like this ghost app thing on my phone where you could see like little stick figures if there's presence in the room. And we put it on this and there was a little stick figure on this. So I don't know. This and my desk. There's only two. And this chair back here. So my desk is really old. It's an antique. It's from the 20s or the 40s or something. It's super old. So I know that desk probably haunted. This was for sure. It popped right up on this. because that store had like a lot of haunted dolls. It had haunted objects in the store and with the story behind it. So definitely there was some stuff in there that was most likely definitely haunted, and it probably could have, come home with this. But I like this. I had it hanging on my wall, but I took it down and put it on my shelf. But I just thought this was cool art. This is something like they would have in the Victorian times and hang on their wall. I don't know. Maybe the weirdos. Another thing that they really focused on was like spirituality and seances and the occult back in the day. So a lot of people would have like a spirit board, or they would, practice like folklore magic, or, like old wives magic and stuff like that. If they were into the occult, it was a form of entertainment to them because, they didn't have TV or internet. All they had was, music, sewing, just reading, and the occult. So guess which one they probably lean towards. I also have like this really cute, ink quill pin, and this little cute statue that kind of looks, Victorian. It's like brass. It's like a little baby or cherub, but it doesn't have wings. And it's just something that you probably have seen in their house. I like antiques and stuff like this. So I have that goes on my desk. I have an antique desk. You would have probably also seen stuff like this where they stamp their letters with the wax seal. And this one is a rose. Yeah, so they would use this to close their letters with. They would often write letters because they didn't have internet or email, so they had to write long love letters or business letters or whatever, update letters. And a lot of times they also like to journal or write poetry, diaries. You can find a lot of diaries from that era. So you can find a lot of poetry books. I have, this little scrap art book that I made that's kind of like reminiscent of something like that. But I made this a while back. Mm-hmm. It's just stuff that I like to write in quotes, things that I'm, looking into. And I have the little, little macabre writing and, pictures and stuff like that. That's just my weird side. Okay, so another thing that they would also have, well, I got this magazine / book. Those Life, or was it Time magazine books that they put out. I got this last year, History of the Occult. And a lot of this was during the Victorian era that, they really made this so super popular, mesmerism, magicians, you'd have tarot, people doing seances as entertainment in their parlors at night. See, and a lot of them were scams, but they made money that way. I think I recently saw a movie that was about that, and it was called The Haunting in Connecticut. And I showed this like a really good. So you have like a lot of interest in the occult back then because it was entertainment. You also have people, practicing. Like this is the Victorian Grimoire. And this is the secrets to a romantic way of life, and it's also just there's a lot of quotes in here from old literary writers. There's a lot of like stories, and there's like Victorian symbols for modern magic, because they did everything according to symbolism. Certain colors meant certain things, so they really lived according to a lot of symbolism and manners and practices and superstition and things like that. So this is a lot of information, like how they sewed things, how they organized things in the kitchen. Everything was like superstition and magic. And it was also to, like ward off death or, blah, blah, blah. So it's very interesting how they were practically obsessed with death, that they lived life every day as if, that's why I think Victorian era, if you look back in the films or like the pictures and paintings, they had a lot of items and they kind of enjoyed their life to the fullest and, made everything really ornate. And because, people didn't live that long back then because of like disease, lack of, medical um, knowledge and things like that. So they kind of cherished life, and then they used mourning as a way to honor the dead, and it lasted for up to a whole year. So they kind of really just had their cake and ate it too, obviously. I have another book, and I'm going to show you a cool book, but that book is listed in the description bar if y'all want it. I have this other book too. This is Crone's Book of Charms and Spells. Looks very Victorian on the cover, so I just want to share with you guys. This one is also linked in the description bar. It's a glossy, super glossy, right? So it's kind of written like the Victorian Grimoire. It's kind of the same style, but in a smaller book, as you can see. So if you don't want that one or want something that big, this one's probably the next best thing, and especially with price. And does have little Victorian drawings in there. So I'll show that. There's a cool book that I just got, and I've only read the first couple of pages, and it's called The Victorian Book of the Dead. And this is also linked below, so if y'all want this, go to the description bar. This book is well written. It's not like an encyclopedia. It's like there's a lot of short stories in here and historical references, ghastly secrets. There's like some sad stories, some funny stories, some weird stories. So if you like that kind of thing and that's mixed with history, I can't wait to read this one. It's called The Coffin Blew Up. Oh God, a coffin explodes. Told you all crazy stuff happens at funerals. Y'all didn't believe me. So there's ghost stories in here and all that kind of stuff. So if y'all want to check this book out, it is in the description bar below. I think it's also on Kindle, but I think you want this handheld because like there's not like a handheld book. Okay. There's pictures in it, and it's not written in any type of order. The stories are short. So I've read a lot of the reviews on this, and they say you can't put it down. And I was reading it up until 5 o'clock in the morning on Kindle before the book actually arrived, because they let you get a little sneak peek. And I read the whole sneak peek. And I was like, hurry up and come so I can finish reading my book. So that's a really good book. If you want to know more about the obsessions with death during the Victorian era, perfect book. Okay. A lot of another thing that they like to do was read and study plants and different like gardening, and because their gardens were like also very magical, and they would also plant certain flowers and things like that. So you could probably look up, Victorian gardening. But here's an old, I'm sure this is not from the Victorian era, but this is an old antique book that I bought from an antique shop. It's Botany. And that's when they used to write their names in their books back in the old days. So It's just a cool book with all the plants and information and the pictures. I have another older book that's probably nicer looking. A Familiar Flowers and Field and Garden, a Field and Garden. And this is like, I don't know how old this book is, but you can tell it's pretty old. 1937, London, New York. So this is kind of old. And it talks about flowers. And the flowers, the way they wrote about the flowers is definitely code or a metaphor for other things. So that's why a lot of gardens and people arrange certain flowers for certain occasions, or gave people certain flowers for certain things, or had certain flowers embroidered on certain things because certain flowers were code or meant something. So even scientifically. So a lot of the magic and occult took place in plain sight without really people knowing it, because it was kind of ingrained into their way of living. It was kind of ingrained into like their embroidery, their floral arrangements, and you just thought it was pretty, but it has way, way deeper meaning. For real. And of course, one of everyone's favorite authors who really wrote about death in that era, Edgar Allan Poe. This book I got a while back from Barnes and Nobles, and it's like the really nice hard cover gold embossed edition. So I don't know which. Yeah. So my favorite Edgar Allan Poe was definitely like the story that I definitely liked, The Mask of the Red Death. Love that one. And The Black Cat. My two favorites. This book is well worth it because you could just sit up and read a story every night. I was reading this to my kids. Such a good mother. I had to read it in school. They're gonna have to read it in high school anyway, or something. Some of those stories in high school anyway. Okay. Oh, I have another replica item, which is kind of cool. I got this on Amazon too. It's like one of those. Let's see if I can open it. I spy the neighbors next door. Those Victorians were so bored, and all they had was gossip and things like that. They didn't have the internet. I'm trying to tell you, they didn't have any subscription services, so they had to spy on the neighbor and see what they're doing. Oh, what is she doing? So it's a spyglass, or like a little, where they would look up from far away at things, Thought it was cool. I had this on my desk displayed, but I'd be looking at the door. I'd be like, what y'all doing over there? Oh, I see her secret ingredient now. I know how she makes that pie. I'm gonna put it in mine. I'm gonna win the baking contest. I don't know. I knew she put something in there. It's cute, right? I got this on Amazon too. Of course, they didn't have like lighters, so they had to use matches back at the J. Got me some long matches to light the fire, the kettle, or whatever. That wood stove. These are like just some Egyptian. I like the candle. smells so good. I love the smell of matches. Don't y'all? Okay. Another thing that they loved to do was draw. Everyone was an artist back then. So I have this little art kit. They would sit out and just draw. Everybody knew how to draw because not everybody could afford a camera. So they just had to draw what they saw. Portraits, birds, still life, nature. People would just like to draw. There's some charcoal in here, sort of charcoal. So they would have their little drawing kits and sketchbooks, and they would just go and lay out and draw something in nature. It's their pastime. I don't know. But a lot of people took art and music and like the arts and literature as, a refinement so that they could say, oh, you know, how people always ask you, like, oh, um, what are your skills? What are your talents? Oh, I'm a great seamstress. I'm a accomplished pianist. I'm an artist. I'm a great sketcher, portraits, and I make the best cakes, and I'd make a great wife. Those were what people based their, marrying decisions on. Oh, my needlework is the best. Girl, I get a tailor. I hire a portrait um, painter, and people read to me. I'm upper class. So, I'm just joking, but that's what people based things on: how well read you were, how skilled you were at the arts, and things like that. It's very snobbish. And, you know, I guess the more you did and the more skills you had, the higher up you could get into society and whatever. I don't know. Or be around the high society. Um, so, they didn't have just, you couldn't just go to the store and just buy. Well, you could, but a lot of people, when they displayed their like alcohol or wines, they would use like decanters instead of like the labels because it might be considered a little tacky. So they would pour their liquor or their wines into these types of, you know, containers. I have another one that's nice too, but I didn't want to go grab it. But this is what they used. Probably would have a cork on it instead of that plastic. It's not super old, but you would also see like whiskey, decanters, glasses. They had a lot of company back then. A lot of people would visit and they would entertain people and you'd pour them a little wine and stuff like that. So I have those. I have some really nice wine decanters that I have, but I don't have them up here. But you can find a lot of those really nice wine decanters in thrift stores, especially old ones or antique stores. And I think they're well worth the investment because, like, if you want to, like, instead of just having a bottle of like cheap wine that you got from the grocery store just sitting around, you could actually just pour it into a decanter and make it look elegant. Light some candles, put your wine in a little decanter and be like extra. Okay, that's what I and they liked to live life a little bit extra and because like you don't know when the last day is, so live extra. Why not, right? So I have this game and I played this game or read some cards like these exact cards like probably last year, and this game is called Morbid Curiosity, and they would probably have played something like this back in the day, but probably their version of it. But I do have that. Oh, and I also want to show you, I made this years ago, years and years ago, maybe like over six years ago, maybe more. It looks junky, but I made this cute little tear jewelry tray. It's very morbid, as you can see. Um, out of thrifted items. I got these little plates, these little saucer plates at a thrift store, and this bell at a thrift store. And I took like a skeleton and Mod Podged it to the bell, and I glued a bunch of random like little stones on the bell. And I found this black flower pin. Looks like, I don't know where I got this from. It looks like a morning pin. And I glued it and tied it around the bell. And then I took like some old jewelry. Like this looks like an old necklace. And I kind of just wrapped it around this. I don't know what kind of bottle this was, but it was just weird because it was like half black and half clear. I didn't know what was in it. So I just made it like the separator. Oh, there's liquid in it. I must have poured some liquid in it. I don't even know what's in there. And I just glued it with the E6000 glue. It's been holding up for 6 years. And I glued like a little spider here with some like little silk roses or satin roses from like Michael's or something. And I thought it was pretty cute. And I had like this little hair clip that I just rested on there. And this has been in my closet undisplayed for like a long time, but I think I'm going to put it on my shelf back there because it's cute. Because when I moved into this house, I didn't get to unpack everything, and I didn't have space to display everything because it's a different decor. So, but this will definitely go on my shelf over here. So isn't that cute? I made that. And I was gonna sell it too. I had it in a, I don't know. I think I tried to sell it online or at a shop or something like that, but it didn't sell. So I took it back home, and it's mine. So of course we have the spirit board. Everybody was doing their seances and stuff in the parlor when they were bored. If y'all watched that show Penny Dreadful, there's an example where she like got possessed in the spirit board, or she was doing tarot actually. But I think I'd be the main one doing this back at the day because I'd be bored too. Like, I'm tired of playing the piano and drawing and singing opera and listening to classical music. I need some excitement. So I would have definitely been one of them. Come on over for the seance. We'd have entertainment. I'd be like, yeah. Okay, so let me read some of these. So the cards look like this. And it says, it just has facts on there, some of them. Some of them are questions. Okay, donating your body's organs for transplant or to science is called, some of them are trivia. Then we have one, list as many supernatural beings associated with death as you can. You have 60 seconds. This is like a game. True or false, due to health regulations, funeral homes are not permitted to rent a casket. False. I know that. You can rent a casket, sadly. Well, you can't, like, if you can't afford a casket, you can rent one, and then they'll put you in like a cardboard or cheap casket when it's time to bury you. But you just want to floss for the funeral, you can rent one. You could even floss in death, baby. Oh, let me get back to my character. Like, you can floss in death. Like, I got that gold casket like Michael Jackson. I'm flossing. Anyway, Who can sing the rest of this verse? The Hirsch song. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. The worms play pinnacle in your snout. Y'all remember Scary Stories Still in the Dark? So that's this game. It's kind of cool. Who uttered these famous last words? I should never have switched from scotch to martinis. I don't know that one. I'm too young. It was Humphrey Bogart. So, okay, in medieval Europe, why might someone be buried at a crossroads? A, they were believed to be a vampire. B, to confuse the dead. Were they to rise? Okay. Or they had committed suicide, or they were executed criminals, or E, all of the above. So if you thought they were a vampire and you wanted to confuse the dead, they had committed suicide, or they were criminals, or E, all of the above. E, all of the above. So you have to get buried at a crossroads. If you committed suicide, if you were a criminal, if somebody thought you was a vampire, I'd be buried at a crossroads. Everybody be buried at a crossroads these days. That's why the cemeteries are all at crossroads. Because we are criminals and we all crazy. It's true. In ancient Greece, if you were a redhead, it was believed that you would turn into what upon your death? A, a vampire. B, a hungry ghost. C, a zombie. D, a banshee. Or E, a succubus. The answer is a vampire. In 1894, the skull of which historic figure was the subject of early scientific facial reconstruction? A, King Tut. B, Shakespeare. C, Anne Boleyn. Or D, Bach. Sorry, the letters are really small. It was D, Bach. Who'd have thought? Maybe he donated his body to science. True or false? There's a memorial on the moon which commemorates astronauts and cosmonauts who died in the advancement of space exploration. Well, this all depends if you believe in certain things. But as far as the answer is concerned, it says true. I didn't know that. Did you know there was a memorial on the moon? If there in the 19th century, when someone died, which way would they be carried out of the home? A, through the back of the house. B, face down. C, head first. Or D, through the window. E, feet first. I told you they had a lot of superstition back then. So the answer is D, feet first. So the spirit wouldn't look back into the house and lure others to follow them into death. So you'd have to go out feet first. The ancient Egyptians believed that the soul resided in which part of the body? A, the heart, B, the brain, C, the liver, or D, the throat? A, the heart. Right. So these cards are probably pretty cool for like the dark academia, weirdo, morbid, creepy people, like for a party game or something like that, or just for the holidays. I tried to find these on Amazon. I don't know if you could find these still. You probably can. Just type in Morbid Curiosity game. I hadn't even opened up this stack of cards. There's so many. So you could play this for hours upon hours if you can stand it that long before people start getting depressed. Oh, I don't want to think about it. This would be a fun game to drink with. Like you could be all like pretentious and get your, a bottle of wine and, put on some classical music and be like, pull out these cards and start asking morbid questions. Watch somebody start crying after they get drunk. I'm like, no. Or I'm trying to close this. I'm the type that would try to do like ghost hunting. Yeah. Or a Ouija board after this. Okay. I'll close that later because I don't think I did that right. Of course, they would always do tarot, so we already know that. I got a bunch of tarot cards and just a bunch of different ones. But they probably just had like a few sets to choose from, or they just use regular cards, playing cards. But well, I don't want to use them too modern. I just had they just did a lot of things like that, and they often had like keepsake boxes of memorabilia from their dead loved ones, like hair. They used to make jewelry out of the deceased people's hair. They used to make out of people's teeth, or like if you had like a child and they had lost some teeth and you wanted to make a brooch or something out of their teeth. It was really weird. They went like all the way weird for mourning jewelry or just oddity jewelry back in those days. They did a lot of taxidermy too on their pets. So they would keep their pets with them after they had passed and have them stuffed, whatever. So it was very morbid time back in those days, but I'm sure it was only because of the short lifespan, the disease, the lack of medical care, the superstition, and just the era, between um, science coming into like being a major part of um, everything we did, and then coming out of superstition, and then also the metaphysical and the occult was all coming around at the same time as common knowledge, or knowledge that people would seek out. So it would be like a mesh of all those things combined, and like you don't know what to believe, so you just gravitate towards them all. And I think like at this time a lot of people are doing similar things, except instead of like medical technology, it's more of just technology, and metaphysics and how that works, spiritualism, magic as well. So I think we're in like another version or era of a time period very close to like the Victorians era, and the Victorian people were in coming out of you know an era where people didn't have as much access to advanced knowledge, into people having telescopes and microscopes like on every corner, like at the pharmacy, and doctors and more people going to school and being educated. But now it has to do with technology and how frequencies work and things like that. So I think we're on that type of, you know, um, period where we don't know what is possible, what to believe supernaturally, metaphysically, scientifically, um, technologically. And so I think a lot of people are now trying to dial back and kind of read more, study more, live more, rather than always, going 100 miles an hour, slowing down a little bit, experiencing life more, um, because they feel that they're missing a lot, or there's stuff that they just don't know and they need more information, or they want to experience it more, or they want to be involved more in something instead of just looking at someone else do it or watching a video about it or something like that. They want to become more involved. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are gravitating more towards experiencing certain things versus just living each day as if it's the same, because most days are the same. But if you fill it with something interesting or um, weird or different or enjoyable, then it's not the same. So I think that's what it's kind of all about, living the most with what you have. Yeah, they had wallpaper. I went to this with lead in it. I went to this museum exhibit called "I Survived Death," and it was about all the stuff that killed you back in the day that you didn't know about, like the dyes in certain dresses from that era had lead in it or mercury in it, and the people would wear this dress and then end up dead because of the poison from the dye that they didn't research. They would have they would cook in certain pots that had certain things in it that would kill you. Dishes, they would serve you on dishes that had like these bad chemicals in it, so when they were heated or something like that, or scraped, poison would be released, and then you get into the bloodstream, and then you would die of like um, blood poisoning or something like that. It's just a lot of weird little stuff that you would never suspect to kill you that will kill you. So it's called "I Survived Death," and it was like an exhibit, and it was actually presented in a Victorian fashion, and it was like all they had actual items that killed people after years of research. They didn't know what this dye and they were putting in clothing were killing people. Like, too bad they couldn't really sue back then, and unless they could figure it out. But that's kind of why a lot of forensics and like detectives were hired and people were doing autopsies on bodies, because this was how they learned what killed you and what didn't. Um, a lot of people were so quick to make money that they would use certain chemicals that weren't tested. So, they didn't do a lot of testing back then. That's why a lot of people, started to do animal testing or pay people to do certain testing. And now um, everything is, oh, it's vegan or, cruelty free, but hopefully hopefully the stuff is safe. Um, so they couldn't really test on things. So they just put it out there and see what happened. And I believe the dress color was this green, like this dark, really nice dark green color. And I don't know what chemical that they used in it. It was like a velvet material, but it killed whoever wore it. Hmm. Um, Elixir killing people supposed to be medicine. Oh yeah, they would take too much, or they weren't supposed to take it at all, but somebody said, "Oh, it's good for you." People were taking just mercury. Oh, I gotta take a little bit of mercury. No. And slowly over the years, the toxins would build up in their bloodstream and then eventually kill them. So, Yeah, a lot of medical studies and autopsies were done back in those days because so much death took place. But the good thing is that we did learn so much. What what kills you, what doesn't kill you, how much of something to put in, how much of the chemicals that you put into this, how much toxins should go in this, how much shouldn't go into this, how long it takes to build up over time. They studied all those things. So now people know. So they were totally obsessed with death to the point where, they would steal bodies to do studies on, or pay morticians to let them study the bodies, or they would rob graves and stuff like that. So, but it was for scientific and medical reasons, and I'm sure some for the occult reasons. If y'all saw that movie Haunting in Connecticut, y'all would see uh, funeral parlors using dead bodies for their occult rituals and stuff like that. And they said it was based on a true story too. It's on. I think I saw it on Netflix or cable. I don't know, but it's called A Haunting in Connecticut. And this lady moved into this house, this old Victorian house, and it used to be a funeral home. She didn't know till she was already in there. Um, Another good movie. It's probably not. It's not in the Victorian era, but another strange movie that I recently saw that was kind of like the black version of the Skeleton Key and Misery is a movie called Spell. Um, and The Hills Have Eyes, or The Wrong Turn movie. I don't know. It was like all those horror movies combined. It's called Spell. Go watch it. It has Loretta Devine in it. So and they still actually lived like they lived back in those days, because I believe that she was originally. It's kind of like the Skeleton Key. That it was from those days originally. So she, gotta see that. Mhm. You said Lovecraft Country as well. Yeah, can't wait. Is the new season out? Um, so I'll be reading this book, The Victorian Book of the Dead. I have a lot of books from my funeral school, like when I was in school for to be a funeral director and mortician, that are pretty old too, and actually worth a lot of money online. But I'll show y'all those another time. I probably have a video showing those as well from years ago, but I think I'll like do a revisit on some of those. I know y'all like to see those. I have one on reconstruction. I have one on funeral traditions and things like that. That would be interesting to show y'all. But a lot of the traditions that we practice today actually do come from the Victorian era, um, and things like that. But I'm sure they had also a source from which those funerary traditions came. But the American traditions all, come from certain things. But there's different religions and they do things differently. So I guess according to your religion, it would also make a difference. But if it's just, the normal average funeral for, I would say, non-denomination, or, someone that would just hire someone to come to the funeral home and, give a little sermon or whatever over the body, it's pretty much the same. Um, cemetery, cemetery customs and traditions are a bit different. They had way more ornate headstones back then, and with certain symbols on their headstones to mean certain things. But now it's more, and it's less. I would say less morbid with they would put on the headstones now, but back then they would put like some weird stuff on their headstones and tombstones because it meant certain things. But now I don't think they'll allow certain things. Like you can't put. And they used to visit the cemetery a lot. They could spend time there, do picnics there. Talk. It was a lot of cultures still do that, but it was more prevalent back in those days. Now you're weird if you go walk around a cemetery and it's not your dead loved one's birthday or holiday, and now you just weirdo. But walking through a cemetery actually gives you a inspiration as far as you need to go get up and do something with your life. um Live life while you can. um you said Drag Me to Hell was good. Yeah, that movie was silly. I laughed so much on that movie. um yeah, but if you just feel like you are stuck in life and you don't know what to do and you don't have a purpose, go walk around a cemetery. You will make up a purpose, like I say. Well, I gotta make up something. I don't care. I'm gonna do something. So, I'm gonna be the best nail polisher ever. I'm gonna be the best fake candle arranger ever. I don't know. You're gonna make up something. You're gonna give yourself a title and start doing something, because it doesn't matter. Just when you think about it, you have to write your obituary. Someone has to write your obituary. What are they gonna put on there? That's what I always told people. Like, if you don't know what you need to do in life, or if you're kind of stuck, try to write your own obituary. When you can't write it, go figure out what you need to do so that you can put something good on it. Right? You said get a hobby. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Get a hobby, learn something. I don't even care. Learn some TikTok dances. Like, it don't even matter. Just do something. I don't care. Just do something. Um, because you can't just say, here lies no, this person was born this day, died this day, leaves behind, these people worked at this place, watched TV, their favorite show was A, B, C, and D, and then they died. There will I can't wait to hear your experience at funerals. Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm gonna start redoing my funeral videos. I think that would be cool, because I think a lot of times people, if y'all are new, y'all probably don't see the old ones, but definitely now that I know a lot more, I could definitely see way more that was probably happening that wasn't realized at the time. Like why I was doing certain things, why people did certain things, why one of my um, employers did certain things. Like I didn't have any idea why they were doing certain things. But at this one funeral home, before every service, they would like literally take incense and like go through and like, how they have those incense at the Catholic Church, the frankincense and myrrh, and you like swing that thing and like the smoke goes everywhere. They would do that, and I'm like, why do y'all have to do that before every funeral and every wake and whatever? Like the lady was basically clearing out all the energy or the spirits, or using it for protection. I don't know what she was doing, but sometimes she wouldn't be putting frankincense and incense. I mean, frankincense and myrrh in there. She'd be putting some other stuff in there. So, she was probably just trying to clear the energy. In the funeral home, I don't know. I'm like, how you gonna live in a? I mean, not live, but how you gonna work in a funeral home and be doing incenses and sage and stuff everywhere? It's a funeral home. Where are they supposed to go? So look, where are they supposed to go? It's a funeral home. So I was like, okay. And you said cinnamon. You roll your incense and cinnamon powder before you light them. Okay. Well, there's a lot of different traditions, and I guess I'll go into some of those when I do my stories. But it's so strange that people mourn very different. So you might see someone who won't even shed a tear that were very close to the person, and then you might see someone who barely knew the person at all is boohooing and fainting and stuff. Like what? um, People mourn differently. We had to learn about that in school, and I think it was Elizabeth Kubler-Ross that really studied that grieving part of the psychology of people, the grieving and things like that. So if you wanted to read or find an author who specialized in grieving, she would be the one. Um, so she wrote she wrote the books on grieving, that basically psychologically. There's different stages of grief and all that. So some people go through them before the person even dies. So you have to read about those type of things, especially if you're around someone who has just lost someone and you want to be sensitive and things like that. Knowing the stages of death, the stages of grief, is very important. I will be celebrated when my physical body expires. My desire. Yeah. I told him throw me a party. Look, party. Party. Don't sit there and cry. Have a party. Play all my favorite music. Dance. Get drunk. Do what you gotta do. That's what I want. I don't want somebody crying over me because look, why are you crying? I think, but see, back in those days, I think more people mourned because they didn't see life, they didn't see funerals as celebrating life. They saw it as an end because they didn't have as much, how we're like, oh, we just move on to the next level or energy never dies. They couldn't really say stuff like that because you know, they saw physical things. They didn't have ghost hunters back then, like, where you see entities and stuff like that. Um, they didn't have a ghost box and whatnot. But so they believed like when you were gone, or you was in heaven or the afterworld or whatever. So they took it very hard. Um, so they took death more seriously instead of like a celebration. They would mourn a long time, and also it was considered low class if like someone in your family died and you was out there wearing red and gambling or whatnot the next week. So you had to act like you missed them or act like you were still mourning so that the person would not be disrespected, you know, um, or you wouldn't look like you was like, you know, unsensitive to the death in the family because it's like, so you had widows had to wear black for a whole year. So like every time you see somebody who had lost someone, especially a widow, she'd be in her ball black. Like, so they had to make stylish clothes for widows. Um, they would get burned at the stake, I believe, to talk about afterlife. What? Um, Dang, not in the Victorian era. This is like late 1800s, early 1900s. Maybe in some parts of the country. He said, and they were terrorized if they expressed their perception of the afterlife. I think if you're in a very religious town, yeah, but there were always those like secret, you know, groups that would meet, or this, people would do the seances, and they would do it late at night when everybody was asleep, and they would like go over someone's house and pretend they were just going to dinner, but then they break out that Ouija board, them tarot cards, and be like, "Yeah, I want to do some." So it would be, and they would start to advertise it in the newspapers actually, because you can find old newspaper ads for seances and psychics. So they started to really allow spiritual workers and people doing those type of things to advertise. But I'm not sure if it was welcome in every state or every town or area. But there were definitely newspaper ads and stuff like that for those type of services. You said females were categorized as the devil. Where all the time go, I don't know. So they would get, no, they went, what? Okay. So after, I guess after like the Industrial Revolution came about and took place, people became like less superstitious and more, business minded, money minded, stock market, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of like went out, but it's still, it still kind of stayed around for those who are into the occult and interested in stuff like that. But after, mass production of stuff, people started really going towards more technology and the fast life and this and that. Um, and it kind of just became antiques and history. But the houses and the furniture and all the antiques and stuff are really like hot commodities these days, because of, that era was so um, ornate, I believe, and just nostalgic, and people really like the dress or the beliefs that they had, or I don't know, the customs. So a lot of people kind of collect things from that era. Like, I know when I get older, I'm probably gonna buy me one of them old Victorian houses and decorate it, and live in one and try to find ghosts and stuff. But that's probably what I'll end up doing. I don't know who's gonna want to live with me, but that's what they're gonna have to deal with. So either I'll live alone or have some weirdo there with me. I'm glad we in the night. Yes. I was actually pricing them. Like, look, there's a lot of cheap ones. But in like Iowa, there's a lot of cheap, like, you can get a Victorian mansion that's totally redone and look good, like so cheap in Iowa. But who wants to move there? I don't, I don't care. I work from home. I don't have to live anywhere. But I mean, I have kids, so like, I don't know. Do they want to grow up in Iowa in a small town? I don't know. Um, but you could buy your dream house in Iowa. They have a lot of them too. Um, I saw a couple of them. I saw one in Georgia, one in Kansas, and one in Iowa that I could just go buy today cash. You know, but I'm like, who want my kids don't want to grow up over there, so I gotta wait till I get older. Older. You said not Iowa. I know it's like super cheap. Like, why so cheap? You said how I'm dolled up this late. I just got ready late. I had a full day of other things, and then I was like, oh, I gotta go live. Let me put this wig and this makeup on. Um, I could have gone live earlier, but I was stalling. I ran out of my contour. It was actually old, not old, but I think it got expired, and I was like breaking out because of expired makeup. Don't wear expired makeup, ladies. You will break out. I was washing my makeup brushes. I threw my old expired contour away, ordered some new contour yesterday. I was hoping it would arrive through Amazon today, but it didn't. So I used one of my Level Up cosmetic powders that were a darker tone to kind of do my contouring. But I was kind of waiting on my contour to arrive, but it did not arrive in time. I had to work with something else, but that's okay. You say you desire a haunted house? Me too. This room is haunted. It literally is. Um, it has the most activity. I tell you the lights don't work. I have to get lights from a extension cord from the other part of the house. I did a lot of things in this room. This is my office. Um, you're investing in etiquette classes. I want to be in the funeral business, but when I'm older, people die every day. Girl, how old are you? You're, okay, my best advice if you're going to be in the funeral industry, you have to have that funeral voice. You have to have that calming voice that talks like this, and you have to have that work on your voice. Don't have one of them annoying voices. Like work on your voice. Like, yes, my condolences to you and your family. Please come in and have a seat. Would you like something to drink? I know this is a very hard time for you and your family. And let me just say, I'm here to help you through this. You got to be all calm and like that. Like, so don't drink 1,000 cups of coffee. Get your low melatonin voice working. You can't smile too much because they're going to think, why you smiling? They be like, you got to learn how to make direct, indirect eye contact. I don't know, right? Direct, indirect. You say the the blank face. Like when they start crying and screaming, this is how you gotta look. You can't start crying with them. You can't get all emotional with them. You have to have this blank face. You have to be like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. I promise you. One day at a time. Um, then you gotta recite some Bible verse if they're religious. Uh, trouble only lasts a little while. No, that was Color Purple. Hold on. Joy come in the morning or something like that. I don't know. I was never one to recite Bible verses because I was not religious. So I just kept it real. Um And if you look good, you're gonna get them. You may get a date or two after the funeral service. So look good at your funerals. The side over. If it's a wealthy person that died, look good that day. When you get to that funeral home, you better look okay, because like their friends are coming. So wear your best black dress or suit. Do your makeup, that perfume on, that black, make you look good. That ASMR voice working. Go up to the one that look like that's for my other channel. Sorry, but you know. Some men like to take advantage of the grieving family members, the female grieving family members. It's gonna be all right. Come on. Start rubbing them on their back, going lower, getting lower, getting low, till they almost at their butt. Come on, I'll take you home. A lot of people get what I call grief sex at funerals. Um, I know, right? That's the other side of it. Uh, the that's what I called it. Like he just trying to get some grief sex. So anyway, it's true. It is true. People will do the weirdest things at funerals, the most inappropriate things at funerals. Um, because everybody's just super emotional and grieving at different stages, so you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get a fight, you're gonna get people trying to come on to you, you're gonna get people faint and passing out and people not caring, people who are drunk. It's like, and that's why I believe that a lot of people still um, see death. A lot of people still see death as an end because of how they grieve. You know, I believe in the future when death has been scientifically proven to have an afterlife or your energy goes on, which they can do now, but it's not too much knowledge out there to the public that's just given to you. You have to go and look for it. But I think that's why people still grieve a certain way because they don't feel as if they feel as if it's an end. But it's just an end to that chapter. So, a lot of people will grieve the wrong way, not knowing that there's more. I laugh at you said some people laugh at funerals. Yeah. You said we won't know till we die. That's true, but there's people that are studying in these things and they know more than the average person knows. So I mean, just having more information would be definitely more helpful than not having a lot at all. So I'll say that. Like certain religions that believe in reincarnation versus the ones that don't, they handle death a lot better just by observing their funerals. Like a Buddhist funeral, they handle death a lot better than, like, let's just say a Christian funeral because they believe in reincarnation. No, that's Hindu. Uh, a Hindu funeral, I've seen both, but I've seen Ethiopian funerals, Hindu funerals, Buddhist funerals. I've seen some. I've done a gypsy funeral, so I've seen a few, and the different customs and things like that. And I believe that the Hindu and the Buddhist funerals were the least emotional. They were just very, like it was normal. I love using the death and rebirth energy. It constantly transforming. Yeah. Just like when you read tarot and you get the death card, don't mean death. It means a new beginning. Like it doesn't mean it's over. It means it's over now. Start over. It means um, it's like when you take your shoes off at the end of a long day and you relax, and get ready to settle down and get comfortable. The next day you put your shoes on and get ready to leave and go put in work or wherever you're going to go do. So the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. But at the same time, people fear something to end, and you can't begin again unless something ends. But there's no end because everything is a circle or a spiral. And so you're never really ending, you're just going forward in a way. Just like we don't remember how or when we got here as we were born. Some people do. It's going to be the same way when we leave. Like I was reading in one book, like people would just, how people who are close to death, they sleep more and then they sleep a little bit more and they sleep a little bit more until they sleep so much that they're spending more time in that world versus this world. And so the transition becomes very easy to slip off into a non-physical world. So I feel that um, like babies sleep a lot when they're first born, and then they stay awake longer and longer. It's the opposite. They're coming back. So I feel that a lot of times people should see it as just a transition, and that's it. You say you remember your white baby shoes when you was little. You don't know how old. I had black ones, girl. You had white ones. I had them the black Mary Jane patent leathers. I used to have little black and white saddle shoes. The little Oxford saddle shoes too, because I had a war uniform to school to preschool. Um, you say you look forward to the ending so that you can be renewed. I'm only attracted to what favors me. Um, well, you know how like some people manifest or write out how they want their lives to go or whatever. You can do that with your death too. And it's kind of morbid. A lot of people do that with pre-needs and they pre-plan their funerals and they say, "Oh, I want these type of flowers," kind of like planning a wedding, but it's like planning a funeral. Um, but you can also do how you want to die, what you want to be surrounded with, who you want to be surrounded by, how old and decrepit you want to be, or whatever. How much you want to be in control of your faculties. If you want to be totally aware of things that are going on. A lot of people don't realize that you have a choice. You can pretty much write down and manifest the ending that you want. Like I've already done that. That's why I don't fear death. Look, I already know I'm gonna die. Or maybe I haven't written how yet, but I know this gonna be when I'm super old and still looking good and still in charge of all my faculties. I know it's gonna be way into the future. So I don't live life every day fearing death because I've already written when I'm going to go. If I'm gonna go. I might not even really go. I might just hop into somebody else. Never know. Like, I ain't ready yet. We finna share a body. Okay. Look, I'm a friend, me a nice young one. Hey, how you doing? You look so nice and pretty, just like on the skeleton key. That's gonna be me. I need help around the house. uh, you like? You said, "Wow." No, I said share, not take over. See, I'm nice. I didn't say switch bodies. I said share. I'm not greedy. um, or maybe I won't want to. I won't want to continue because I want to see what's next or whatever. We'll see. You said jumping into a new body is the way to go. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how I start to feel. You said Fallen Denzel movie. I know. You said you rather remain a ghost. We'll see. I might want to haunt some people first. I don't know. There's this movie like that. It was called, I don't know, it's called All of Me or something. It was back in the 80s. And I used to watch this movie all the time. I don't know why it's one of my favorite movies, but it had Steve Martin in it and this like rich, crazy old lady. Well, she wasn't old. She was kind of young. I think it was Lily Tomlin. And she had like this spiritualist who was going to put her soul in this bowl and then transfer it to this stable worker's daughter because she was young and beautiful. And the lady that was dying spent most of her life in a wheelchair because she was sick and had a heart condition. And the when she was dying, the her soul went into the bowl, and then the bowl flew out the window because somebody was doing something and landed on Steve Martin, and so he got her soul in his body, so they were sharing a body. I don't know, y'all gotta see that. It's pretty good. I think it's either on Netflix or on cable still. Hmm. I used to watch that movie when I was a kid. I think it's called All of Me or something like that. Hmm. It's old. It's from the 80s, early 80s. Hmm. See, kind of like the movie Soul. I still haven't watched that movie yet. I need to watch it. So, mhm. You seen that movie? What are your thoughts on seeing red cardinal often? Um, I see them all the time. I mean, we in Texas, where I live. There's birds everywhere. I see all type of birds: crows, cardinals, hummingbirds, bluebirds. I see them all. Like, listen, I even see pigeons sometimes. You said magpies. I like all type of birds. I think bird watching is cool. Maybe when I'm an old lady and nothing else to do, I'll bird watch. I got some binoculars. I'll use them for that. Um, I would probably just look it up what it meant. Be like, oh. What does this mean? Make me a bird watching journal and draw some birds because I'm bored. Make me a bird Pinterest. I don't know. Um, Falcons. I don't see any of those around here, but I see some. I see a lot of eagles and hawks. Don't see. Yeah. Oh, one time I saw. This was kind of sad. One time I saw either an eagle or a hawk that had taken a bird's nest, a little blackbirds, I guess, taken their nest. I guess there's eggs in there, and the two parent birds were chasing the eagle bird, pecking at it and like swooping and trying to get it. But the hawk got away with the nest, and the birds were following it as long as it could, but they lost. So it was kind of sad. Like I don't know if the birds were born yet or if they were still eggs. But that hawk or that eagle or whatever it was stole it, and you could see something in its claws, and the parent birds chasing it. I was mad. I was watching and like, get them, get them. It's like, oh man, they need three birds, not two. It's like if they would have one more bird, they would have got it. So, it's like it's rough out there. Um, I've seen that happen like two times, like since I've been here, and it's messed up how those hawks and eagles just go and like steal people's children and be like, parents can't do nothing. That's because the eagle flies on Friday and Saturday we go out to play. Rest in peace to them birds. I know. The animal kingdom is not humane, right? I was trying to throw something at it, but I couldn't throw that far. It's like it didn't even go far. It was like they didn't even realize anything was going on with me. But I was like mad because I was like, that's kidnapping. And I was throwing stuff at it, but it wasn't going far enough because they fly extra high, and I was like, I can't throw that high. But I was mad. Like I got emotionally involved with birds, and I'm like checking the mail, just witnessing this, and I'm like, let me get my mail and go home. So, but when you see something like that, you can't help but get pulled in. It's like, dang, these birds, this eagle was just flying with this nest in its claws, and these birds were just like those drone planes that were like, and they were like hitting it with like hitting the eagle, but the eagle or the hawk wouldn't go, and they kept taking turns like pecking at it, and you were like, get him. But I guess that's kind of like entertainment back in the day before there was technology. But I just happened to see it because I was just outside checking my mail. But yeah, pretty sad. You said bird pen. What? That's normal here. The little birds are always attacking crows or hawks. Oh. Is that three significant in life and attack an achievement by using others? I just thought that if they had one more bird, they could have got it. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I hope those birds were happy to no more child support or response. They were still a couple. Dang, that's messed up. Birds ain't like us. bird boxing. The judicial systems are the hawks of this dimension. I know, right? What is the significance of three? Three. Three is the magical number in most fairy tales and stories and the occult and things like that. Then, of course, you have 369, which are all, you know, factors of three. Like you have like 3 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9, so on and so forth. Just degrees and stuff. Um, I get a bird nest in my mailbox every year. Oh, cool. So anyway, birds, they used to have like a lot of used to use like feathers and stuff and like a lot of their hats and stuff back in the old days. I know feathers are plasma collectors, which is like energies and spiritual energy. Um, so a lot of feathers were used a lot in mourning hats and stuff like that. Um, that's why like when they do the sage and they have the feather and the little abalone shell and they go, yeah. Mhm. You've been receiving feathers recently. Yeah, there's a lot of feathers in this room. Probably why I've got a lot of energies. Um, I have all sorts of feathers in this room. Black. I know some of them are dyed. Some people take feathers and dye them different colors. But I have a lot of feathers in here. You can order feathers online. You can get them at Michael. You can get a feather boa. I have little fountain quill. They used to wear like back in the old days. Writers used to use quills because it attracted the spirits and the energy to help them write. Oh, I don't know what to write, or spirits be with me, guide me. That's why I use level. Also, because it had a nib at the end, and it was a good thing to write with. But it would also catch plasma, so um, you would be inspired to write more. So a lot of the best writings were back in the day. Or like when you have a fountain pen, it's a fountain of knowledge, it's a fountain of not energy, it's a flow. So instead of just having like a ballpoint pen or like a regular old, whatever pen, the fountain pen would allow things to flow. And it was very symbolic. Like I'm telling y'all, back at the day, like when they had like these types of pens, you could only use so much, get so much ink in them, and you would always be reminded that you need to dip back into that ink. And so a lot of stuff was very systematic and formal and a constant reminder of your mortality or your energy state or your whatever. And so now everything is so plasticky and just it's hard because if you don't like you can't even learn just by the symbols in your life hardly anymore unless they're pointed out. But back then they were constantly given to you so that it was just mentally ingrained. And I think now it's so hard because nothing is sacred anymore. Not even writing is sacred anymore. And so that's why I like I'm trying to surround myself with more things that remind me of certain things symbolically and spiritually, because at the age that we're at now, it's not like that anymore, and you don't get that knowledge out of it. Um, and if I were someone that was able to do something like that, I probably know more. I would probably be less confused about certain symbolisms or what certain things mean or what certain things, I would have been less confused about those type of things if I had grown up with certain, I would call them rituals now, but they're basically just everyday things that were made into rituals just by how you write, you know, just by how you conducted things, just how instruments are made, like the keys on the piano. So now it's just like blah, 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 blah. But slowing down and taking a look back into the past and seeing how things were really just concentrated on helps me. Hmm. Hmm. You're going to buy a quill pen and you're going to use. I do have I do have a link in my description bar of all these type of things like that I'm talking about, and from Amazon, of course. And so if you just click on that link, it's just a bunch of spiritual stuff that I've been talking about. A lot of the books that I'm talking about, it's just my Amazon suggestions, and you'll see a lot of the quill pens. You'll see, these wax um, stamps and wax. You'll see a lot of the stuff that I'm speaking about. So that'll just be like all that stuff in one place if you just want to go check that out. So I try to make it easy for y'all because I know whenever I'm watching certain videos and I'm like, where do I find that? Where do I find that? Everybody gonna shop at Amazon anyway. Y'all might as well just click on it. Um, that way you can get it like tomorrow. No, you said start selling quill pens, and we will. I do have a store that sells them on it's Dark Realm Online occultshop.com. But a lot of times my supplier are sold out. So I'll just use my Amazon suggestion link, but you can try my store first. That's down there too. It's linked. Just scroll down a little further if you find something you like. I believe I got this one as a birthday gift from my best friend from childhood. And she sent me this, and it came with ink and another, like, this twists off, and you have different, like, widths about how thick it writes. So this is metal, so you could change the width. It comes with like 3 different ones, maybe 4. And then it has the ink that comes with it as well. So there's different colors. I think there's one that's like a peacock. I think I have there's different color ones. There's ones based on Harry Potter. I don't know. But this one was just in a box that looked like a map on the outside. So you'll probably see this one online if you. It's cool. And I like how it has like the pattern right here. So I found this at an antique shop, and I think it's just supposed to have just like a regular gold pin in it, but I use it for this, and it works perfectly. You could find stuff like this at antique shops, like pin holders, if you want to display it on your desk. It says, the pen is mightier than the sword because words have power. And that's why I also got this Victorian um, Book of the Dead, because how they used to write back in those days, they chose every word very carefully to mean certain things, and it wasn't super complicated. They didn't use, these twists and turns and trickery as much. And so it was very easy to kind of what I call decode what was being said or what was really meant as a metaphor. And um, so reading these stories also helps me to word certain things differently, to say more by saying less, because that's how they used to speak back in the day. I don't know. It's just very different, but at the same time, you can learn a lot from the past. Say you a sensitive Slytherin. Okay, yes, yes. Um, yes, a child could understand, and it's written very poetic with metaphor, and you know you can catch the meaning. That's what I'm saying. So, um, very, very nice to read something like that and get something deep out of it at the same time without having to be a scholar. You know what I'm saying? Um, so and a lot of the homes that were built in the Victorian era were also built in certain shapes, like the roof and the architecture were built in certain shapes, also according to energy, superstitions, death, um, things like that, metaphysics, because of their superstitions and things like that. So a lot of the architect has to do with spirits. If you really think about it, most of the things revolve around spirits and death, and you don't really relate it back to those things or to death or to energy until you really just look at it like, okay, I see why they built it like that. I see why most modern American houses have like this triangle shape on the roof instead of a flat square. I see why A, B, C, and D. I see why there's a cone shape um, on these types of houses. They call it a witch's hat. Those old Victorian homes that have like that little, people call the little castle tower or whatever. Um, well, I spoke to an architect because I was thinking about having another home built, and they said it's called a witch's hat. Literally, that's what they call it. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. I thought it was just called a tower or something like that, but they actually called it a witch's hat. Um, where will my other homes be built? I don't know. I'm like, that's probably going to be after my kids graduate from school, because there's no way that they're going to grow up in a town that they don't want to grow up in, and I will never force them to do that. So I'll wait for them to get out of school, and then I'll go wherever I find my dream house. They can come visit, or they can move there. I don't care, but I'm not gonna force them to go to high school in a little town. Um, it's like one of the houses that I liked. They had like population 3,000 in the town. Like, no, how many people will you have in your graduating class? 50, 100. So no, gonna wait. I say I'm gonna see aliens and crazy people. Or maybe I'll just be able to get one still close to. There's a lot of them in Houston, except I don't want to live in those. Some of those areas flood, so they have a lot of them in Houston, and they're very expensive because they're old. But where they're built at, it floods. They have to constantly redo them whenever there's a big hurricane or a flood every 5 years or whatnot. So, and they don't do flood insurance if you're in a flood zone. I mean, if you're like in like where the ocean is very close to, they're not going to do flood insurance. So, got to go somewhere like where everything is cheap. Hmm. So, in the meantime, what I thought I would do is kind of redecorate my home from the inside, um, and make it more like I want it to look interiorly. Um, yeah, it's kind of like that already in some of the rooms. My domains, I should say, like my office, it can be a lot improved. It's kind of dirty and messy, but for the most part, I can definitely improve on this. And then my bedroom, working on that. Um, Other parts of the house I can work on, but you used to make houses out of cardboard when you was little. Me too, girl. You made a witch house out of cardboard. That's so cute. You watch the sunset in daytime. I need good vibrations. Okay. Is the home I'm gonna move in be a permanent one? I don't know. Um, we never know. I could. I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be much, much later on in years. So it's gonna be later on in the years, like years and years and years from now. Or I'll stay here, or I'll move, or I'll get another house. Maybe I'll have two houses. Who knows? Maybe I'll rent this one out and have another one. Who knows? But I don't know. I mean, my mom has land. I might build on her land. It's cheap if you already have your land. So we'll see. Um, yeah, my mom has 5 acres, so don't have to worry too much about close neighbors or anything. I mean, you got neighbors, but like they're not super close. Or a lot of times they don't live there full time because it's kind of in the country. Hmm. You said you once lived in a beach house. I think many people could say that. When you're renting them neighbors in a gossip. Oh, my neighbors are weird. I don't even know them. Like they moved in recently. I'm like, I don't know them people. I didn't know the other neighbors that well either. So I'm just a hermit, so it don't matter. Like I don't even know what they look like. That's how bad it is. I think I might have seen them once or twice. Like I'm serious. I got on my sunglasses. I get in my car. I back straight out, and I'm looking in the whole different direction. I don't see them. Okay, I'm trying to find my playlist to see what songs I'm gonna listen to. I can't see them. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Texas is the fastest growing state. Like people are trying to buy my mom's land. I tell you, you better not sell that land. You better wait till you get the millions. You know, I said no, don't do it. So yeah. Hmm. My neighbors are high key gang. What? Dang. Yeah, I don't know my neighbors enough to know anything about them. What do you think about a candle business? I think a lot of people buy candles. I think, I mean, I purchased a lot of candles this year online from like candle owners. Like most of them are women ran businesses or women entrepreneurs. So I'm trying to support small businesses. And the candles are very great quality. I love the aesthetic of a lot of them and the scents you can't find everywhere. So I definitely think it's a good way or good business to start for sure because I will purchase candles and wax melts. Oh, my finger's bleeding. Y'all see that? I will purchase wax melts and candles online, and I haven't been to Bath and Body Works in ages. So, hmm make your candles very fragrant like Beth. Yeah. Um, the two the two candle businesses that I purchased from recently that I really like is Nola Wicks Candle Company. It's like New Orleans Wicks Candle Company, and um, I think the other one is called Southern Candle Company or something like that. And they have some really good stuff. Check them out. I have videos on it. So I used to have a candle where you win a prize when it melted down. You did? Like a crystal. I have some of those too. I forgot the name of that candle company. Oh my gosh. It's on one of my videos. It's actually featured in the video. I have to remember the name of it. But it was kind of cool because it had like flowers and but I didn't buy those. They were sent to me to advertise, and that they were really pretty. And I used them a lot. I'm still using one of them right now, and they had the wood wicks and they crackled. I have to go look at the box. I still have the box. I saved the box, and I think I still have one candle left. So when I remember and when I find the name, I'm gonna put it in the comments for y'all. Um, Shira, I need your perfume recommendations again. I wear so many different perfumes now. It's whatever I'm feeling that day. I have so many perfumes. Um, so right now I'm wearing Cleopatra by Toka. Um, so it just depends on my mood, I guess. I'm actually thinking about coming out with a solid perfume um, that I create, but I'm still in, thinking about it. I think solid perfumes are much easier to ship out because you know how the mail these days are like um, crazy about shipping liquids and things like that. So that's why I want to do the solid perfume. Hmm. Yeah, I would buy the perfume, make something us ladies can wear. Yeah, I was thinking about making because like another thing about working in a funeral home and probably living in the olden days is that fresh flowers were, especially is exotic flowers, um, had like these heavy floral scents, and that's what the funeral home would always smell like, these heavy floral, like exotic flowers, um, like those cattlilies, gardenias, and I would always, yeah, those orchid flowers. I would always smell that in the funeral home. It would just be so like when you walk in, just you would know when flowers had been delivered because this they would have so many flowers there. It would just hit you in the face, like when you walk through the door. So I think something like that, like a very floral, dark, exotic floral scent, would be something that I would probably incorporate into my perfume. And yeah, I'm just making sure that I'm gonna make the find the right formula to do it with. I don't know if I want to use beeswax or shea butter or something like that. I'm not sure for the solid perfume, but still thinking about it. I'm gonna have to work with some stuff to see what comes up. Mhm. You said shea butter. Hey, you said it's already sold out. Yeah, I'm gonna get it. It's gonna happen. It's just I'm taking my time. I don't like. I'm not trying to rush anything right now. Hmm. You have Pacifica perfume and have them delivered next week, but I'm going to buy essential oils to make a unique. Great idea. I have a solid perfume. You know those solid perfumes that come in that soapstone little box? I have Egyptian musk and patchouli. And I like the way they last a long time, but I'm not going to use those soapstones. I'm going to use something more elegant. Hmm. And the good thing about a solid perfume is that you're not going to overdo it unless you just, you know, it's like a dab. Like, and I'm going to make it strong enough to where a dab is enough instead of, you know, have to spray. Hmm. Dang, I'm just sitting here, my finger's bleeding. It's not lipstick either. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have. If you want more videos like this based on the topic like this and that I talk about and show you examples of, if I have any, let us know. Let us know. I think this was fun for me as well because I got to show off some stuff, or like kind of like show and tell. And now I have to go put all this stuff back, but I'm probably gonna look through it first and play with it and stuff like that. You know, like when you become an adult, like these are your toys, like the stuff that you collect, your tarot cards, your books, your music boxes, your antiques. It's like your toys. You said don't waste that precious blood. Yes, I didn't want to, you know, put it in my mouth on camera because some people are squeamish. But, you know, that's normally what I would do. Um, Thank you, Shira. You have inspired me to feel confident in my spiritual journey. You should, because like, don't get old and, you know, regret not following what you wanted to, and not experiencing the life you wanted to, because then you can be like, dang, I'm old now, it's too late. Or you'll be starting later than you wanted to, but just don't regret it. If that's what's pulling you, go do it. You collect jewelry. I saw a piece of jewelry that I wanted, It was from the Victorian era. It was a piece of mourning jewelry. They called it mourning jewelry. But I'm not gonna pay $300 for it. So what I do is I go to Goodwill, no, Shop Goodwill online, and I look up antique jewelry or old jewelry, and I look through it and see if I see something that's very close to it or from that age, and I'll buy it there for super cheap. But sometimes they do bids like eBay, so get them on the last day of the bid. Um, they have like a category that says last day or last chance. So I found a lot of good stuff on there, especially jewelry, because a lot of that stuff comes from estate sales and people just giving stuff away they don't know the value of. Did I do rituals to achieve my current level of success, like with your business? Yes, it's called getting up every day and doing something towards making your business better. The ritual of getting up and doing something. Um, that's the main one. You gotta get up and do it. But I did used to do. I've probably done maybe two or three better business spells back in the day. But the main one is getting up every day and working towards it, coming up with new ideas, or just trying to do what you normally do but better, or taking a break and coming back with new and improved way of doing things. It's just something that you have to do every day. Um, can I recommend a purse brand? I don't know. Any purse. A purse is a purse, baby. It carry whatever it carries. It just depends on your style and what your taste is like, or whatever gift people gift you. I don't know. I'll take them all. I'll take all the purses. I don't. I'm not going to discriminate. Do do you think power outages are connected to spiritual activity in some way? We just had several internet. I told y'all the power is out in this room. I'm getting power from a whole nother room. Power's been out in this room for like over a year, maybe more. I just collected from a different room. Um, so I'm sure it is. It's just like it won't. One day it just never came back. Um, I can get it fixed though. I'll just call someone to come fix it. I just need to call an electrician or a handyman. Like, come on in here and fix this, but they might be afraid to come up in this room. I'll just pretend because there's also a storage closet that must be connected to this breaker or whatever that doesn't come on. So I'll just tell them it's that closet, and just they don't have to come in here. The maids don't come in here, and I clean this room, but I try to keep it clean, but they'd be afraid if they came in here. Um, the lights in your home flicker, and it's not electrical. Yeah, yeah, we know, like, we think it's cool now. Lights flicker. You can definitely find some hidden gems in the flea markets that are exclusive to. Yeah, yeah. So I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. I appreciate you guys. Like y'all are so appreciated in whatever way. Got my old. Y'all want to see my? Y'all want to see my shoes? I'm trying to put them back on. Got them patent leather Michael Jackson shoes. Actually, they're a little bit more pointy than MJ shoes. They're more feminine. They're more feminine. They're by Anne Klein, and they're more feminine than the MJ shoes. I should say. Y'all like my shoes? I. Mm-hmm. What'd you say? Mm, I'm trying to read the last comments before I go. Oxford loafers. Yeah, I also have another pair of Oxfords that you tie. Um, but those I wear more with slacks. Mhm. I try to dress like the aesthetic that I was speaking about this evening. So I have on like this corset. It's not really a corset. It just looked like one. It's like a top. I have on this velvet coat and then this black satin skirt and my black satin bow and my patent leather Oxford loafers. I look like some weird lady that's getting ready to do like one of them haunted ghost tours. But I got to dress for the energy, for the feelings. What's the best way meditation to find out who you were in the past? I think those will just come to you. Like you'll just have some flashbacks. You'll be like, you probably dream about it. If you're not dreaming about it, if you haven't felt as if you were there somewhere or somewhere else in the past, I mean, that's how it naturally occurs. When you're not expecting it, when you're not trying, it's just going to happen. Um, that's how I figured it out. But if you're looking, it's going to be hard if you're like, because it's a subconscious thing. So stop looking, stop thinking about it. And if you have dreams that are in a certain time period, or if you have visions that are in a certain time, you know, and you feel very connected to what you're seeing, that's probably going to be one of your past lives. So, whatever you end up seeing or feeling, write it down. See if there's something there. Whatever happened to my feet ASMR video? I don't know. You want to pay for it? I don't think I ever did a foot one. I think I did a shoe one with the shoe on. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. But y'all some freaks, I see. The freaks come out at night. Unless you want those for more sinister reasons. Mm-hmm. um, they want to see the bottom of my feet. They some freaks. They act like it's a fetish, but I think it's more of an occult thing. They be sitting there meditating. Oh, Shira's feet. Shira's feet. I'm gonna. I am coconut oil, and I'm going to be absorbed through her feet, up into her mind, to her body, to her soul, from her soles of her feet. Mama say, Mama sa, Mama kusa. They sitting over there doing that. A mess. Anyway, remember, many of my shoes have walked through cemeteries. Wow. No lie. I still got grave dirt on some of them shoes I didn't throw away there in a box somewhere. I used to wear these when I used to go to the funeral. Yeah, I wear my heels in the building, and then when we go to the cemetery, I put on my flats, and they would get that mud all over them. Or I'd have like loafers. I'd have cemetery shoes and funeral home shoes, and they was all probably contaminated. Um, so I think I saw them the other. What? Yeah, like that's another thing. Like when you come home from your job, you got to leave your shoes in another part of the house, like at the front door or outside or in the garage or something like that, because of certain things. Um, or you spray some Lysol on the bottom of them. I don't know, but think about it. You said I read the embarrassing comments extra loud. Japanese custom is to leave shoes in separate places. They wasn't, yeah. I mean, I see now, like bringing that energy into the house. Like back in the old days, you know, they just drug out dirt and all that stuff in the house. I always thought it was weird how people didn't want you to wear shoes in their house, and but now I see that it's probably for the best because you don't know where they've been, what they tracked in, what they've been walking through. Um, I'm not one of those people, but I don't have too much company over my house anyway. So, but usually people will take their shoes off when if you have carpet. So people automatically just take their shoes off most of the time they come over because if they do that at their house, they think I do it. So it kind of works out. But probably gonna get more people doing that these days. Hmm. You better wear cute socks when with friends, or you better wear socks. 'Cause, you know, paint your toenails or something. Because there have been times where people have probably been over other people's house and wanted them to remove their shoes and their feet stank, or they had holes in their socks, or mismatched socks, or no socks, or long toenails, or something. So do your feet or you leave your house if you're going to go over someone else's house because you never know. Hope y'all are doing well on the full moon. Yeah, it is a full moon. Ooh. See, it's a full moon. That full moon energy got me up here tonight doing this, so I'm glad for it. So I'm gonna go now. Sprinkle, sprinkle, everyone, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Oh, before I go, remember I left a lot of links in the description bar for a lot of the books and things, and as well as my Amazon suggestions. For those of you who are part of my Patreon, Decoding with Ashira, I'm getting ready to introduce something new. If y'all are on my other channel, it's going to be very similar to the journaling group on my Patreon for my other channel, but it's going to be more focused on just how you observe the world spiritually, magically. It's just going to be different prompts, like journaling prompts each week. It's kind of going to be something between like keeping records of the things that you're doing, studying, working on, spiritually or magically, and just being able to do it with a group or just on a Patreon. So I'm going to start working on that soon, and I'll let you guys know when I'm getting ready to start that aspect of the Patreon, if there's going to be weekly prompts. If you are a member of my Patreon, I did post something new yesterday, so y'all can go look. Something just very random. So hopefully you guys, if my Patreon is not linked below, it is in my About section on the YouTube channel page for my channel. So go and see if you would like to join. Like I said, I'm getting more into experiencing more than just talking about it and making videos about it. So that's why I'm doing the Patreons and the journaling and things like that. My idea would be to start a journal that would keep track of your candle work, your divination, sorry, spell work, decoding, books you're reading, and things like that. Um, Results, all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to do this super formally, but just kind of a group activity, journaling prompts, suggestions, photographs and pictures of how I'm doing mine, and or how you can do yours or whatever. Mm-hmm. So y'all have a great rest of the night, great rest of the evening, wherever it is you are. Some people are in different time zones, so I'll see y'all next time.